Tonight, go outside and look up. If the sky is clear, you'll see a few thousand stars. That's it, a few thousand. But every one of those points of light is a sun. And our galaxy holds somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion of them. And our galaxy is one of 2 trillion. Run the math and it gets absurd fast. There are more stars in the observable universe than grains of sand on every beach on Earth. Most of them have planets. Many of those planets sit in the zone where water stays liquid and life, as we understand it, becomes possible. So the galaxy should be loud. It should be crowded. Statistically, we should be tripping over signs of someone else. And yet, we point our instruments at the sky and we hear nothing. No signals, no machines, no ruins drifting between the stars. 70 years of looking, and the universe has stayed completely, perfectly silent. There are 2 ways to explain that silence. One of them is unsettling. The other one might be the most terrifying idea in all of science. And by the end of this video, you might not be sure which one you'd rather be true. Let's start with the man who first noticed the problem. In 1950, a physicist named Enrico Fermi was having lunch with colleagues at Los Alamos. They were chatting about flying saucers, the usual table talk. And then Fermi, almost as a throwaway, asked a question that nobody at that table could answer. Where is everybody? It sounds simple. It isn't. Because Fermi understood the scale of what he was asking. The galaxy is roughly 13 billion years old. Our species has existed for maybe 300,000 of those years. We've had radio for about a century. If even one civilization had appeared a few million years before us, a blink in cosmic terms, they would have had more than enough time to spread across the entire galaxy, to send probes everywhere, to leave traces we couldn't miss. A few million years sounds like a lot. Against the age of the galaxy, it's nothing. It's the difference between arriving at a party at 8 o'clock and 8:01. So the question isn't, could anyone be out there? The question is, if the universe is this old and this big, where is everyone? Why is the party empty? This is the Fermi Paradox, and for 70 years, nobody has solved it. In 1961, an astronomer named Frank Drake tried to at least organize the question. He wrote down an equation. Not to get a single answer, but to break the problem into pieces you could actually think about. How many stars are there? How many have planets? How many of those planets could host life? How often life actually appears? How often it becomes intelligent? How long a civilization survives before it goes quiet? Multiply it all together, and you get a number. The number of civilizations out there we might be able to detect right now. Here's the catch. Almost every piece of that equation is a guess. Plug in hopeful numbers and the galaxy is teeming with thousands of civilizations. Plug in cautious ones, and the answer drops to a number that should stop you cold. 1. Us? The equation doesn't prove we're alone, but it shows you how easily we could be. Change one variable, just one, and the entire crowded galaxy empties out in an instant. But here's the thing that keeps people up at night. We have heard something. Once. August 15th, 1977. A radio telescope in Ohio called Big Ear was sweeping the sky, listening for anything unusual. It was pointed at the constellation Sagittarius. And for 72 seconds, it picked up a signal. Not noise, not static. A strong, narrow burst of radio waves on a single frequency, almost exactly the frequency that scientists had predicted an alien civilization might choose to broadcast on. It was the kind of signal you'd expect from a machine, not from a star. A few days later, an astronomer named Jerry Amon was going through the printouts by hand. When he saw the reading, he circled it in red pen and wrote one word in the margin. Wow! That's what we call it to this day. The wow signal. The single most promising thing we have ever detected in the entire history of listening to the sky. And here's the part that makes it unbearable. It never came back. They pointed the telescope at that same patch of sky again and again for years. Nothing. 72 seconds, and then silence forever. We still don't know what it was. Scientists have proposed comets, hydrogen clouds, all kinds of natural explanations, and none of them fully fit. Almost 50 years later, it's still officially unexplained. One signal, 72 seconds. And then the universe went quiet again, as if it had never spoken at all. So which is it? This is where the 2 explanations split apart. And this is where it gets strange. The first explanation is that they're out there, but we can't see them. Maybe they're too far away and their signals haven't reached us yet. Maybe they're using technology we can't even recognize as technology. Maybe, and some serious people believe this, they're deliberately staying quiet, hiding, because announcing yourself to a dark universe is a good way to get noticed by something you don't want noticing you. That's unsettling enough. But the second explanation is worse. And to understand it, you need to meet an idea called the Great Filter. Here's the thought. Between dead matter and a galaxy-spanning civilization, there are a lot of steps. Chemistry has to turn into life. Simple life has to become complex life. Complex life has to become intelligent. Intelligence has to build technology. And that technology has to survive long enough to reach the stars. The Great Filter says that somewhere along that chain, there is a wall. A step so hard that almost nothing makes it through. That's why the universe is silent. Because almost everything that starts the journey dies before it finishes. And now comes the part that should make the back of your neck go cold. We don't know where the wall is. Think about what that means. If the wall is behind us, if the hard step was something we already passed, like life appearing at all, or a single cell becoming complex, then we got incredibly, impossibly lucky. We're the winners of a lottery almost nobody wins. And the silence is just the sound of how rare we are. That's the good version. Strange as it sounds, you should be hoping we're alone. Because if the wall is ahead of us, if the hard step is something every civilization hits after the point we've reached, then we're walking toward it right now. And so did everyone else. Everyone who ever started this journey ran into the same wall and didn't come out the other side. That's why it's quiet. Not because life is rare, because life keeps ending. The galaxy isn't empty. It's a graveyard. And here's the truly uncomfortable part. The more advanced civilizations we eventually find out there, the worse the news. Because it would mean the filter isn't behind us. It would mean the hard part is still coming, for them, and for us. In this one case, finding company would be the most frightening discovery we could ever make. Now, the Great Filter isn't the only answer people have come up with, and some of the others are almost stranger. There's an idea called the zoo hypothesis. It says they're out there, they know about us, and they're deliberately leaving us alone. Watching, the way we watch animals in a nature reserve. Not interfering, just observing a young species fumble its way forward, waiting until we're ready, or until we're worth talking to. Under this idea, the silence isn't empty, it's enforced. We're being kept in the dark on purpose. Then there's a possibility that's almost humbling. Maybe we're not late to the party. Maybe we're early. The universe is still young. Stars will keep forming for trillions of years. By that math, the era when most intelligent life appears might be far, far in the future. And we'd be among the very first to show up. Not the last survivors of a dead galaxy, but the opening act of one that hasn't filled up yet. The first guests, sitting alone in a room that won't get crowded for billions of years. And there's the simplest answer of all, the one that's easy to forget. Space is unimaginably big, and light is unimaginably slow. If a civilization 1,000 light years away sent us a message today, it would take 10 centuries to arrive. They could be out there right now, broadcasting, thriving. And we wouldn't hear a whisper of it in our entire lifetimes. The silence might not mean absence. It might just mean we haven't waited long enough. Every one of these is possible. And that's exactly the problem. We have no shortage of explanations. What we have is no way to know which one is true. So let's go back to you standing under that sky tonight. Two possibilities. Either we are the only ones, a single flicker of awareness, in an ocean of dead worlds, alone in a way no human has ever truly let themselves feel. Or we are not alone, and the silence means something is out there in the dark that ends every story like ours before it can be told. Loneliness, or a warning. Those are the options. And nobody, not Fermi, not Drake, not anyone alive today, can tell you which one is real. We've been listening for 70 years, we'll keep listening. And maybe one day a signal arrives and everything changes. But tonight, the sky is silent. And the most honest thing anyone can say about that silence is that we don't know what it means. We just know it's there, and we know we're the only ones we've ever found who are looking up and wondering about it at all.